उनके याद में हम लोग रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन ज़्यादा हम लोग पब्लिश कर देंगे, फिर भी इतना शॉर्ट में बता सकता हूँ कि उन्होंने पीएसआई के कोई भी कंपटीशन में वो फोटो भेजा नहीं होगा, पार्टिसिपेट किया नहीं होगा। वैसे ही जानवी आर्ट गैलरी में उनका वो फोटो लगा नहीं होगा। इसका मतलब बस किधर भी फोटो उनका पब्लिश किया नहीं होगा, ये मेन कंडीशन है। और फर्स्ट प्राइज है 3000 रुपीज़, सेकेंड प्राइज है 2000 रुपीज़ और थर्ड प्राइज है 1000 रुपीज़। और 2 CM है, सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ मेरिट 500 ईच वाले। अच्छा, 16/11 को हम लोग हैंगिंग गार्डन को आउटिंग लेके जा रहे हैं पीएसआई की। सुबह 9 बजे हम लोग वहाँ पे गेट पे आ जाएंगे सब लोग। संडे को हाँ। और 21 तारीख को प्रसाद दर्जी अपने नए कमेटी मेंबर्स है, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, उनका प्लानिंग द फोटोग्राफिक फ्रेम, इसके ऊपर स्लाइड शो होने वाला है। उसके बाद में 29 तारीख को महेश अंबारी जी का वर्कशॉप है सैटरडे को, मोबाइल फोटोग्राफी के टॉपिक के ऊपर। और उसके लिए मेंबर्स के लिए 500 है और नॉन मेंबर्स के लिए 750 है। हाँ, अब बुकिंग अभी भी कर सकते हैं, जिनको इंटरेस्ट है वो अपना नाम दे सकते हैं। अभी मैं प्रसाद दर्जी को रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ वो आज का प्रोग्राम चालू करें, गेस्ट का इंट्रोडक्शन करके दे दें।
Welcome all PSIs. I think I am quite audible till the end, right? Today our honorable guest is basically from Bangalore by heart and soul, but he actually resides in the United Arab Emirates and he operates from there, right? And he's basically a hospital pharmacist and a very, very passionate photographer. Arfan, primarily his photographic interests are portraiture, as you can see here. He's going to actually take us through all the nuances about artistic portraitures today. He is also quite keen on landscapes, which he has already shown his art at Avishkar recently, and he is also an avid travel. Oh, sorry, it is on Sunday, I suppose. Sorry. So he is also a very avid travel photographer. He has won numerous awards around more than 60 countries. He has won his awards, and around 40 countries his work has been, I would say, displayed. So, such a great stalwart photographer is here with us today. He has also got distinctions from the Royal Photographic Society in 2021. He has done his master's distinction he has got from the Photographic Society of America. Plus, he is also an excellence diamond distinction holder from the FIAC, that is Federation of International Photographic Art Society. He has also founded Askari Awards to encourage young photographers in Karnataka, which he is passionately following, and he has got a tremendous vision wherein he is actually taking it forward through various different disciples of his, and not keeping it to himself. So that is his main forte, I suppose, sir. And he has been, from our point of view, from Photographic Society point of view, he has been a jury member during this 2025 salon, which was conducted recently. So he also leads Shutterbuck Creative Forum in Dubai. So he is right now operational from Dubai, I understand, right? So please, with a great applause, let us invite Mr. Mohammed Arfan Asif.
Thank you very much. At the outset, let me state that it is a great pleasure to be at the Photographic Society of India, Dr. D.N. Road, Mumbai. Actually, I had visited this place in 1991. Of course, I had come for some other purpose. And I walked up the steps, the lift was not working, or I didn't observe it. And when I came here to this particular premises, I just saw all beautiful chairs bundled up under one corner. And I asked one gentleman who was going in a hurry downstairs, is there any activity today? He said, no, we only have it on Fridays. And incidentally, I came here for some other purpose. If I am not very wrong, his name was Asif Patel. So that was my only experience to see an empty hall. With of course some pictures, I saw the pictures and I went. I did not know that one day I will be here in his premises and I'll be meeting all of you. And such heartwarming to meet each and every one of you and understand your passion of photography. And thanks for your very flattering introduction. I don't think I credit that much. And I have to also thank my dear friend Vaibhav Jaguste for coordinating this particular activity. I owe a lot to him. And also I thank the Photographic Society of India for accepting me to present. Okay, so let me start the presentation. I will not keep you long so that you don't miss your dinner in time. First, my respects to the great legendary photographers of Bangalore. And because of them, I am standing here in front of you. Without their inspiring efforts, though they didn't teach me photography, but they inspired me with the philosophy of photography. Why does one do photography? That is the most essential element in your photography. There should be a purpose. It should not be just Tom, Dick and Harry is doing some particular photography, has bought a camera, a costly camera, and they are clicking crazily all over the city. I also have to do that? No. There should be an inherent, independent and individualistic approach to do photography. A good reason. It should come from your heart. That's the reason. And these legendary photographers, Dr. G. Thomas, C. Rajgopal, T. A. Dagier, B. S. Sundaram, T. N. A. Perumal, E. Hanumantrao, and B. N. S. Leo. They are all so wonderful people, great human beings, and they accepted me to interact with them for quite a good time. And my interaction was very, very personal with them. Next slide, please. I should say that these two gentlemen inspire me even till today. And I think that their statements, their discipline, their philosophy of photography has been so influential on me that today when I stand before you, actually I'm reflecting them. Nothing from my persons. Nothing fell down from the sky. It's all because of their greatness. Dr. G. Thomas, he taught me discipline. I had become his typist. I'm quite super fast and I'm showing off 60 words per minute in typing. And I have typed many of his letters that he, as the Secretary General of the Federation of Indian Photography, had to write a response on the same day, which even people with email don't do. But he, with his inland letters, he made me type letters. And I had the unique distinction, which probably no one had, that I signed some letters on behalf of Dr. G. Thomas for the Federation of Indian Photography in the year 89 and 90. It's quite close to him. And of course, his house is very close to the house of my wife. But don't create conclusions. I did not meet my wife till I got married. And then, let's see Rajgopal. He was like a walking dictionary. And he told me, Asif, the subject is nothing. The light is everything. And we follow the light. We are only light chasers. Next. I also have to give Shraddhanjali and respects to the late K.G. Maheshwari. I was only in contact with him by letters, inland letters. And sometimes I got his response later in life because he was quite elderly from his secretary. And when I made a small booklet, I'm so interested in writing and publishing books. When I made a small booklet on portraiture in the year 1991, I asked, those days scanning was a tedious process, I asked him for some prints. And I said, I promise you I will return it. If you can send me a scan, it is more better so that I don't have the challenges in postage to miss it and get a bad name. He was a very kind person, and of course his secretary was communicating with me. And he had a common subject, portraiture. A great gentleman. Of course you all know him very well. He's part of the PSI. Next. So today what I'm going to talk about portraiture is on the historical significance. I will not go more into it because some of you might feel boring. Maybe you have come to see my pictures and my way of approach. Different types of subject, posing, sorry there is a mistake there. You should be posing, lighting and composition. Next. Just to touch on that fact that portraiture as such did not start as an art of photography. Portraiture was used as a tool for identification purposes. And here you can see the first mugshots was by this great guy Alphonse Bertillon. and you can see the date over there, and it was used to make mugshots of criminals in the USA, and that's how portraiture started. Next. And you can see the way it was used, photography of portraiture, that it was also used as a scientific instrument for studying various kinds of ailments, of course, psychological ailments. So it was used in psychiatry. Next. And then we always need to understand what is this portraiture about? What are we trying to do in this particular medium of photography? Are we just trying to take a likeness of a person, like how they do for passport photographs? Or is it something more than that? In order to become creative portraiture, it should not be just an identification tool. Someone resembles so and so, like a map. It should be basically an idea about the person's character and personality in one aspect. Later on, the evolution came out where you can use portraiture for the artist's impression of some kind of an emotion which might not be factual. It will be fiction, but it could be used as a creative tool by portraitors to reflect a particular emotion. The guy really doesn't have that, but you can extract for a creative pursuit. So it's very, very important to understand why portraiture is not just an identification purpose. Next slide.
तिला बोलव ते करेल येणार काय करू नको करिश्माला बोलव ते राहून देतात करिश्माला बोलव
काका हे बाहेर काढायला
Sorry for the excuse me. In electronics. So in 1854, in fact, I had to carry some, but I missed out in the last. Beautiful cards, like it was called card visit, and many people started collecting these of very famous personalities. And Eugene Disdale, he started this kind of trend where very famous personalities, the cards were printed in what you call visiting cards size, sometimes a little bigger, and they used to sell this. The portraitors would make some money where you would sell this as collectibles. So like, you know, very famous personalities like Abraham Lincoln. This was a trend in the 18th century. Next. Now, portraiture also became a very, very important tool in society where you can bring forth many social issues into the public space and create awareness or probably promote the people who are at the helms of the administration or in the politics or leadership to influence them on certain narratives. Maybe migrant people, immigrants, or it could be farmers, it could be child labor, and so and so. And Lewis Hine is not so famous as the next slide you will see, the author of the next features, but I should credit him as he started the trend to create social documentaries, particularly of child labor in the US. And because of his portraiture, the Legislative Assembly in the US banned child labor because of his work. Next. As well as the farming people, the immigrants and all this. This is a very famous name, I don't have to tell you. But Lewis Hine is not credited so much, though he precedes Dorothea Lange. Next. And of course, I don't have to talk about Steve McCurry. Here you will see that he talks about social documentary, but it is a little neo-social documentary. And Steve McCurry is a living legend, all of you know that. But there is a little twist in us, with all respects to him, that his pictures are not of that approach that what Dorothea Lange or Lewis Hine had. Here he talks about photojournalism in the beginning, though now he has revised his approach and he says, I'm an artist, I'm a visual storyteller. So it is not to be believed that all pictures are reality in per se. So what you might see might be a little staged, what you might be see a little processed, and I think there are now more smarter people who have identified that a lot of processing has been done on his image. We might say that it is the assistant who has done it, but you can't shun the responsibility. So there are certain issues with full respect to him, no doubt he's a great photographer, but what he's showing is not all factual. But that's why I call it new social document. Next. Of course, another legend, and everyone knows him, though he's known as the one who started the trend of street portraiture or street photography, but he did a lot of portraiture work. Next. I have a little fascination for this man. Both another hatke, not the usual approach, hatke. So he tried to experiment in a very different way that no other people were involved with. Straightforward, traditional photography as we call it. But he tried to innovate, and innovation is the spice for everyone. As you grow old, you have to innovate, otherwise you will stagnate. So I like Richard Avedon, though he is more known as a fashion photographer, but he clearly makes a statement. Next. Another very controversial portrait photographer, and many people would not like him because he went much more than Richard Avedon. So he was taking people that we might not easily categorize as, and he did something very, very innovative, and sometimes there is no face in the portrait. Next. So let us move faster. Next. Here is the person, all of us owe a lot to him, because Alfred Stieglitz is the one who brought respectability to photography. Prior to his efforts, photography was just shunned or not equated as a fine art. It was just a tool, a medium. By exhibiting his pictures in the National Gallery, National Portrait Gallery, he brought photography to that esteem where photographers who were doing photography got their izzat, that it became a fine art. So a lot is owed to Alfred Stieglitz. Next one. And of course, in the realm of portraiture, everyone would have heard of Yusuf Karsh of Ottawa, man who was in Albania, migrated to Canada, that's why he was known. It was Yusuf Karsh of Ottawa, and this particular picture of Winston Churchill reflected the times of the war. And he took it in a very, very unique moment, and he had only 5 minutes to take. All he did was he made Churchill a bit angry to get that expression. And how did he make him angry? He pulled out the cigar from his hands. Not an easy thing to do. Here is a man who was leading the World War. Next. Okay, this is my favorite photographer, Julia Margaret Cameron. In today's time, we are all so obsessed with gadgets. Everyone is talking about equipment. When photographer meets another photographer, which camera do you have? Which lens do you have? What is the specs of this particular camera? We are so obsessed with this technical, jargon. Nobody's talking about the art of photography. Only talking about gadgets. And sometimes it has become a status symbol. Oh, you have a Z9. So it's all come to that stage. But let me be very clear. In fact, you must have all read the articles by the great Rohit Mehta. And in that you must have sensed that what he says is photography is important, not the photographer having some particular gadget. I'm so happy to have you with us. So, Julia Margaret Cameron, when you see, "Arey, ye to focus hi nahi hai, sharp hi nahi hai," you will say that, right? But it had emotion. It had a narrative. So there is so much in that photography rather than a very sharp picture with each and every pimple or pore in your skin shown like a map. What does it mean? So it's better to be out of focus than to show emotion. I just love her pictures. Next. Okay, next. I will not go so much detail into this. Now about my portraiture. In school, when I was in school, I studied in Baldwin Boys High School in Bangalore. I would do a lot of sketches, and my favorite subject was portraiture. I would do all the film stars, I would do all the scientists, inventors. I would draw them from looking at books and actual photography. And I was so fascinated with this that I became the artist in the school. And I would draw on the blackboard. Of course, present generation doesn't know what is blackboard. It's a whiteboard now. But in those days it was a blackboard. A lot of nasty things happen when you use the chalk. A lot of dust gets onto your face. Today's generation will get asthma or some kind of wheezing problem, but we had to bear that. So after the class, that was at 3 p.m., I would stay late and I would tell a lie to my mother. I was having special classes or I was playing or something, but actually I was drawing on the blackboard with all colored chalks or white chalk. I would do all actors, horses, which were another favorite subject of mine. And next day when the first class is held, the teacher would say, Asif, you come forward and you will dust off the board for me to take the class. I don't have the heart to dust it off. But I said, I would really appreciate that. And I said, okay, you enjoyed it, that's more than enough. मेरा effort का वसूली हो गया. And झूठ बोला माँ को वो भी चलेगा. So, you know, I mean, that was my fascination for portraiture. And I used to draw this. This is in my college where they were all exhibited, and some of the portraits of Professor M.L. Shroff, the founder of pharmacy education in India from Banaras Hindu University, is still in the two colleges where I studied. It's in the principal's chamber. Next. And I had fascination. I mean, Vimal Parmar is not here, who's a print evangelist. I really like him because I met him in the year 89 in Bangalore when he was the manager for the Alpha company. And he was so kind to give me sometimes free paper. But most important, he gave me sterling chlorobromide paper, exquisite paper, which none in Bangalore wanted to use. I loved that paper and he used to ship it from Calcutta especially for me. So, and he always loves print, fair enough. So you can see my print fascination, that I put all the prints in the benches of the classroom and I would exhibit it and all the students would see it. And the next day, I would remove it so that all the chairs would be in the correct position because they had to sit there, no, to listen to the lecture. Next. This is the picture was a dramatic turn in my portraiture journey. And this is the picture from the cover page of the Photographic Society of India, which I hold here. I just clarified to Mr. K.B. Kutadi, who could not come here because of certain health conditions. And I met him and I recollected about, he thought it was my daughter. I was not married in I took this picture in late 1990 December, and I was not married at that time. I got married in 97. I said, she's not my daughter. She's I am her uncle actually, second cousin uncle. My mother's aunt's granddaughter. Anyway, this is Sava, and this particular picture which I took, of course no light, nothing on the top of the terrace. This is sunlight from the back, and I took this picture. And the issue with this particular picture, though it won a lot of awards and whatnot in those particular areas, I stopped using the picture, is because of one particular issue that I will tell in the future slides. Next. And here was K.B. Jodhari writing on this picture in Sunday midday. And that motivated me a lot. On a rainy evening in Bangalore, I went and bought 4 copies of this Sunday midday. And the guy said, not many people buy this picture. It's a Bombay picture at that time. But I bought 4 copies. Then he said, there should be some reason. I said, my picture is inside. Then I opened and showed it to him. And I don't know how, I mean, some of the papers got affected because it was raining and wo big gaya, main cycle mein aa raha tha. So the thing is that till today I didn't get the award for it. The award was 4 Fuji film roles. Fuji Velvia was, as you all know, that one of the top transparency roles in those days. So I got excited I will be having 4 Fuji film roles. Till today it did not reach me. But I'm so happy that my picture was published over there, and it went on to get published in many publications and salon covers. Next. Then I made this picture of this particular lady who is a groundnut seller. In Karnataka we are also obsessed with groundnuts, you know. And there is a way people say that Bangalore's name is because of the groundnut. So many stories about it. She used to come home and she's a Tamilian lady. Don't make your conclusions on her. She's a Tamilian lady with a big bindi and a sari. She comes, she talks in Tamil to my mother, sells the groundnut and happily goes. One day I said to my mother, please influence her to be my subject. My mother said she will never agree. And she's a very short-tempered lady. Anyhow, I succeeded and I took this. What I did was I put a socks on her head, and my mother had a small garment business of shirts. So the shirt on her, I removed the bindi and I made her look in a particular way and took a picture. And it did well. But there was a coincidence that I later observed, that these are the kind of people that the late KG Maheshwari used to photograph, who were genuine, original. She's a duplicate, of course. And then I saw that, oh, here there is a duplication. So I got a little concerned. So after that, I did not do this kind of approach. Next one. So I took a variety of people. Here's my geography teacher, and this is the picture which also did very well. And here you can see the late KG Maheshwari's picture. It was quite embarrassing that the jury gave me the first award and him the second award. It was quite embarrassing. I did not accept it. I don't accept the jury's verdict because it can't be better than late KG Maheshwari's picture. Next. So I do photography in a very humble manner, no what we call studio lines and drawn-in chromes or alien chromes. And sometimes it's very attractional to see 250 tungsten lights outdoors. In another slide I will show you the background. It is taken at 6 o'clock outdoors with good sunlight. Next. I have not photographed any known people or famous personalities like Yusuf Kash would do. All his subjects were very famous personalities. The only two people who are known and well recognized, one is MS Satyu and the other one is the late ex-Chief Justice of India, Venkataramana. Next. So I used to see people on the road, get friendly with them and then take pictures. For me, photography is not just about technicality, it's a lot about psychology. It's a lot about psychology in portraiture. 80% is psychology, 20% is technicality. You need technicality, of course, and some of you will argue you need a lot, fair enough. But if you do not have 80% psychology, you can never be a portrait photographer. You should be a man of words. You should be an extrovert. If you are an introvert, portraiture is not your cup of tea. Better to do wildlife photography or somewhere else, where you don't have to talk to the subject. Here you need to talk to the subject, get them into your world, and you get into their world and create a kind of a partnership and then make images. You requires a lot of psychology and you need to be an extrovert. Next. Okay, next. It is also a very satisfying thing that if you can kind of create a body of work that will show your individuality. It's always not good to be jumping a lot of genres or something like that. You need to create a style, you create your own individuality, it will reflect you and you will be there in the picture without yourself being there. So this is something very, very important that I felt in this journey. And I always say now, in fact this article I have written in the year 2003 in Photography in Middle East, I have said life is easy now. The majority have let the camera become masters, and it is true till today. Next. Okay, I'll come to this later. Next. So here I want to explain to you the most important fundamentals. I cannot go into a tutorial, but just to highlight it because of shortage of time. So there are two parts of a portraiture, factually. One is the subject. You have to choose the subject. I would never like to photograph a subject chosen by anyone. And that is also a little foolish. Someone is photographing a subject and you are photographing. Before asking, why are you photographing that subject? Are you convinced about the subject? Fair enough. It could be a group activity. But you should ask certain questions to yourself. Why are you taking this picture? Just because Satish is taking a picture, I am also going to take a picture. For what reasons? So a good photographer is one who will ask questions before actually taking pictures. Background is very, very important. I sometimes say that the background makes the picture or breaks the picture. So if you have a wonderful subject, you made a lot of choice and convince and everything, but you have a poor background, it doesn't work. So there are three dimensions of a portrait, and I am going to explain a little about posing, lighting, and the presentation part. Because nowadays the presentation part is more in favor of the people in the IT department. And the objective. It should be a statement of character, emotion, or it could be a story. Now people who do photojournalism kind of portraiture, it is more a kind of a story. There might be certain things in the picture, you might not agree with composition. But it's okay as long as the people can read the narrative, the story. It's fine. You don't have to be arithmetically or mathematically accurate in all aspects. Photography is freedom. There are no rules. We call the rule of third. Even I follow that, but I only follow when I have good reasons to do it. And I break it when I have good reasons to do it. Photography cannot be science. It should be art. And art is freedom. Next. Subject. Now this is the most challenging part. In fact, you can make a good portrait only when you have a taste for a subject. And each of us here have a different taste. What Vaibhav loves to take a picture, I might not like. I like a particular subject, he might not like. It's fair enough. We respect the choices. But we all have a taste. Like in everything in life, we all have a taste for color, for food, for various things. In similar way, you will have to have a taste. But the public can decide about your taste. You still continue to do your taste. Nobody is going to stop you. But if you want your photograph to be in the domain of the public and to become a work of art and just not a personal experimentation or pleasure, then you also have to think about whether your subject will be liked by others. Is it interesting to at least 40% of a hypothetical 100% population or audience? At least 40% like your subject, fair enough. You are fair enough to go forward. So it's very, very important you have a good personal taste. Next. There are so many things that you have to study in a face, and I'm very, very particular. Sometimes I get into an odd spot when I tell someone, no, I will not allow to photograph this person, but I will not tell it in front of that person, to someone in the middle or something. Like, because you are very specific, when you're doing portraiture, if you don't like anything about the particular face, you might not actually take a picture. Or you might take a picture for the person, but not for yourself. So there are different faces. I will not go into the details. Next. Okay, next. So the backgrounds need to be very simple and should not dominate your main dominant element. Your dominant element, or some people call it principal element, or you can say main element, whatever it is the face, is the portrait. So the background should not compete with the face and overpower it. Sometimes people put very, very odd backgrounds, jarring backgrounds. So, and then it will affect your subject. So you have to be a little, modest about your background, sober about your background, plain background, subdued background, less light on the background. Always helps, because I have said that the background can make or break the picture. So be careful with the backgrounds. Here this man is a truck driver, so I got the vehicle. This is done on location, it's not good. So I just got him to come down and I use the whole wheel of his truck as a background. Next. There might be some challenges. Now some people tell me, oh, I had this, I had to do this. All that is personal. The challenges a photographer faces is personal. It has nothing to do with the audience. What the audience will do is see the result. They are not bothered whether you fell down from a banana tree. They will not be bothered. They will not know also. They will see the final result. For the audience, it's the final result. But the photographer, it is the process. Right from the way he conceived the picture till he presented. He has a personal memory for it. And that's fine. We all have memories for it, right? So, but for the audience, it's the final result. Now, for example, in portraiture, you have the greatest challenge of people wearing glasses. You have a lot of reflection from these glasses, right? The people in the studio, they do a lot of lighting to see that reflection is not going to be an issue. What I was doing is I was removing the glass from the spectacle and taking the picture and putting back the. Sometimes the subject would be very angry about it. Where I get some scratches on that. So whatever challenges you have, you overcome it personally, and the audience will decide on the final result. Next. And beards, white beards, they might sometimes compete with a black face. Sorry to say, I am not going to be racist, but what I am saying is that if the face tone is dark and you have a white beard, obviously the white is going to dominate, so you need to subdue it with lighting or certain techniques. Next. Next. Very, very important in portraiture, if it is going to be what I call a constructive portraiture. There's a difference between constructive portraiture and informal candid portraiture, like done on the street or done spontaneously. But in a constructive portraiture, which also could include studio portraits with lights and in a controlled environment, you need to pre-visualize. Before the result, you need to imagine the result and then work towards that result. Maybe you will not reach it 100%, but at least 80% of that can be achieved if you pre-visualize, if you dream about the portrait before actually implementing it. It's very, very important. Next. Next. In fact, that particular picture, I saw that Vaibhav chose that picture for the poster. Come back to the earlier picture, I will tell you about this. So, I was part of the Dubai Natural History, and one of the members brought her mother. And when I saw the mother, I immediately got attracted. So she said, "What's happening? Do you want to date my mother?" I said, "It's okay." It's such ironic to say that. Then I said, "Yes, I like her. I want to take a picture." Then she knew, and she said, "Okay, come home one day." And she is most of the time sick. Today she was good. I brought her for the meeting because they have wine in the beginning of the program. So she came to take the wine. Not interested in natural history. So I went to her house and fixed up everything. And she said, "I am ready." Then she said, "What kind of jewelry are there?" I said, "I wanted to be very sober." So she had a pearl necklace. And then, now you might all understand why I chose her. Because when I saw her, I felt that she is the lady from Titanic.
Yeah.
So she's not, but I was totally surprised when she said in her younger days she is very beautiful, even in this age. And she is no more, she passed away. And this particular picture was kept in her memorial. When they had in the church the tribute part. Because there was no real serious portraiture done later, in later years. But when she was young, she was a model in UK and she was doing very well. And she told me, "Son, how did you find out that I was modeling before?" I said, "I did not know that. I found you beautiful." She said, "I'm not beautiful now. You should have been born many years ago." And the most shocking part is I wanted to cancel my session because here it is not seen, but in another picture you see that in many places blood was oozing out. She said, I don't want to do it. She said, "Please, you have come to do it. Do it. It's okay. This is a common thing in my stage of life. It is regular." What I found more disturbing and very irritating, and I was very emotionally affected, is that lot of flies. This was done in the outdoor garden. Lot of flies were coming, and I see the tension in me when I remember that I get goosebumps. And I thought, it's not human. I have to be very empathetic here. But she forced me to take the picture. If you are a real good photographer, I have in my young days modeled and I have seen great quality photographers, you will complete this session. You will not cancel. And what I did as a recourse is, what my session should have been for at least 45 minutes or something, ended in 10 minutes. I said, "Yes, I have done my picture." "You're sure?" 3 times she asked, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, I got my picture." And this was in the analog era, not in the digital. If it was in the digital, we are all crazy. We keep on shooting like machine gun. Next, I just wanted to tell some memories. He told me about memories. Here's a person, Mr. Bukhari. Mr. Bukhari. He was going in St. Mark's Road in Bangalore on a cycle wearing a suit. And don't think this is all made up, staged. It is natural. I found this very interesting character. And I was in my Luna. I went after him. I stopped him. He got a little alarmed. Why he came in the front and shot. 2 minutes, I want to talk to you. I'm still in my college first year. Then I said, "I just want to talk to you." Okay, what is that? Anything wrong? Slowly became friendly with him. Eventually on that same day, I went with him to his home, which was very far away. Went to his home and had a good discussion. And I came to know that he was taking tuition to a Christian priest to teach the Christian priest English. What is this happening? And then when I got his name, Mr. Bukhari, I got more shocked. It's all, it's all conflict of ideas here. Anyways, he became a good friend, and the cigar is also true. He actually smokes a cigar. And I said, "I want to take your pictures." So this was taken in my friend's home. I got him to a friend's house because my house did not have the space, and they were all assisting me, helping me catch the lights and everything. And here I had the pre-visualization of Godfather. Someone is saying yes, sir. Okay, next. And same Godfather in two different views. And maybe whenever you take portraiture, just don't hang on to one particular concept. Try it. Sometimes it might not work. Different versions. Yeah. Next. Posing. This is something very, very difficult for you to do. How do you pose the subject? And particularly a subject you don't know. It becomes very, very challenging, right? Because it's another human being. And it is your own species. To get into the same wavelength and convince the person on your ideas is always going to be a challenge. So during workshops, portrait workshops, what do you find? There is one person who acts like a director. He's setting up the lights, he's setting up everything, and 10 people are clicking. None of the 9 are talking to the model or contributing anything to the staging of the portrait, but everyone is getting the result. And sometimes the one who did not speak just clicked, he's using that picture for competitions and all that. And it's up to him as long as he is happy about it. But it becomes unethical also. So fair enough. And I always consider these portrait workshops when you have lights and a model, it's always very useful. It's very important for clubs to organize this so that it becomes a training ground to see the process. But that doesn't make the final result. You learn the process, learn the technique, and then you implement it individually with your choice of subject and everything. But learn the process. Without learning, it's required. Without learning, you cannot do it. You're lost. So this is very, very important. But when it is your wife, you don't have to do anything. You can give an order. Next. Okay, so here is Mansi. She's a classroom, a school sweeper. And I was aiming to photograph the class teacher. And I had thought about what to do. I was talking to her. I had not taken the picture. All of a sudden, the sweeper comes into the classroom, pulls a broom and starts sweeping. As I'm talking to the teacher, my eyes are going to the sweeper. And this lady asked, "Are you okay?" Because I'm not concentrating on what she's saying, because actually my replies might have been irrational. But mera dhyan sweeper ko gaya. Then I said, "If you don't mind, I would love to photograph your sweeper." She was very disappointed. And if you disappoint any female species on this earth, I will give you a break. So, but what I did was, I told the teacher, I'll take your pictures also, but I will like. I never show the picture of the teacher to anyone, but I show the picture of the sweeper to everyone. And this got me a lot of awards or whatever, but it gave me a lot of happiness because one particular pre-visualization helped me in conducting this. And it is a very simple background. You can see it's a very basic background, but I like the garments. And many people who go to Rajasthan, they always try to show the culture, the color of the place. But for me, even in black and white, she is very exotic. She's like one Ranima, but she was actually a sweeper. Next. And I gave a fictitious name, Mansi. So whenever you take 4 pictures, it's very difficult to get people to pose in a particular way. Sometimes people will not budge. In Ladakh, this gentleman did not move from his place, which is a closed shutter of a shop. He said, "मुझे यहीं बैठना है, कहीं भी नहीं जाऊँगा." फिर थोड़ा अगर इधर जाएंगे, थोड़ा दीवार के पास, that nice texture in the wall. Then I thought finally he will say, "No photography." I started taking pictures by throwing the background out of the depth of field, making it a little more simple and taking a picture. Next. So give yourself the opportunity to take different poses, and you have to work fast. In informal portraiture on location, your mind should be working so much. It's very, very important. It goes on fast. So this is a person who is a carpenter, and these pictures were taken in 5 to 7 minutes. And I want to be very empathetic with this person. I wrote a story in Instagram also, but this guy always was smiling and grinning. He has 101 worries. But during the session, he was all happiness. He wanted to create a lot of positivity. I said, hats off to him. And I wanted to help him if there is any problem. But he said, "No, I am more happier than you." And then I took fast. Next. So different options, different. Sometimes people in the house, they cooperate and you can try experimenting with different. Next. Sometimes spontaneous. So Bablu was there. Afterwards, I took his portraiture, but I like the one I took before actually taking the real picture. Next. Here's another picture where emotion is shown. So a little guidance can be given to the subject for the posing part, but you need to have a concept as such, you know, what kind of emotion you want to portray. Next. So informal candid becomes a big test for a portrait photographer where you need to think quickly. I love her eyes. You know, I'm sorry to say she could be the hunchback of Notre Dame because she is this much. She cannot move more than this height. She is bent like a L. And I was really shocked. But she was very, very smiling, happy. She radiated so much of positivity. I was really infected with her eyes and the happiness she had. Next. Yes, Teresa, Sister Teresa. She told me, why do you find me so interesting and beautiful? I'm an old nun. I said, no. You have a mischievousness that today's girls don't have. Take a picture. Next. So these are some of the pictures. I will go a bit faster. This guy is a tailor, and I wanted to take a particular picture of him, and I pointed my camera. This has been taken in Calcutta on the street on our walk. But this guy, I think, has got 101 problems. So he was in deep thought. He was not looking at me. Then this is the moment. This is the moment I want to take this emotion. And I took this. Next. People reflect. It's not just, you know, a straightforward, stiff pose. Sometimes if you make them at ease and let them get into their world, they reflect different emotions. 1,001 emotions to capture. It's not only one standard emotion. Next. 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 This is the picture I have to tell you a story. I finished my photo shoot in the morning. I'm tired, exhausted. I like to be in cold weather conditions. And it is summer in Dubai, 50 degrees centigrade. But happy with what photography we have taken. And I was returning back and I got into a petrol station to fill up gas. Then all of a sudden, I saw a truck, a long truck, you will see it now in the video, and a gentleman inside, and I was really attracted towards him. So I just parked my car there in the petrol station and approached him. Next. Okay, now just play the button here. Can I have your help? Yeah, just play this.
Is it embedded or online?
No, it is there.
Embedded.
It is playing.
Maybe you are not capable.
Oh, quick time is not available. Okay. Anyways,
I think so. It is
Just the
it's not working. Can you go a little bit?
This
Stop.
image viewer is not allowed to play also. That's the point.
Okay, can you stop at different points? Just I want to show the. Just bring your cursor. Say here. It is not working. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Okay, it's not working. Actually, I've shot the entire scene of this particular truck. You'll be amazed to see the number of tires this particular truck is. It's a very heavy duty truck. And I climbed onto the truck in the passenger seat and I took that portrait as the guy was sitting on the steering wheel. So you can come back to one picture because I wanted to show the person. He's there in his seat with the steering wheel in his hands and I'm taking this particular picture. So I want to show that on location, if you react positively and quickly, you can make a good portrait. Next. Okay, let's move next. Okay, I will not go into all the details here, but I'll just highlight certain things. I'm sure you all had workshops and this has been repeatedly, drilled into you. And some people ask me important questions on what lens to use. I think around 100 is good. You might ask why around 100. I will tell that you have to respect the personal space of your model, of your subject. Don't go so close to that you irritate the subject. Go at a particular distance, and though many people say our eyes are closer to 50 mm or 45 mm, there's still a controversy and no conclusion, but you can't use a 50 mm and go so close to the subject because they will be intimidated. and you will have an unpleasant experience. So be at a distance, respect the subject's personal space, and 100 mm is the most ideal. But if you want to flatter, we keep on going plus, 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 plus. But you all need to understand that right from 50 mm, you are actually flattening the subject. In the sense, we are all doing two-dimensional art, right? We are all doing two-dimensional art. There is a width and a height, there is no depth. But because of light, thanks to light, we are trying to create a depth. So, but even the lens is also having an important part to play. So, as you increase the focal length of the lens, you will make it from a three-dimensional, implied three-dimensional, to a two-dimensional. So, what is like this? It becomes like this. At 300 mm or 400 or whatever it is, it becomes flat, like a map. There will be no play of light and shadow. So, and it will be very flattering to the people, particularly if you are shooting girls, go 200 mm. Right? They like it that. But you will understand that the facial features will get changed from distortion to flattering. So somewhere in between 100 mm is the best. It is not exactly, but around that. That will be best for you to take.
85 mm.
Come again?
85 mm. Is
Yeah,
the
85 mm, yeah, because he's saying 85 mm because you get standard 85 mm lenses, right? And some many people call it the portrait lens also, right? It's a good thing, it's a good distance. 85 mm is fair enough. That's why I'm saying don't be mathematically correct in photography. We are not doing science, we are doing art. Even if I take a picture and put it upside down and show to you, it's my statement. Whether you accept or not, that's something else. But I'm not doing it for you, I'm doing it for myself. Right? So it's okay. That is freedom in art. Next. Angle of approach is very important. When you see next a picture, when you take always, it's always good to take, if you want to flatter and if you want to take a realistic picture, you always take a head and shoulder shot with the camera at the height of the eye. That is the standard one. Whenever you see a studio photographer taking a picture, if he's going to take a full length from the leg to the head, he's exactly at your belly button. Because when the camera is positioned there, you will not get any distortion because the head and the foot is equidistant to the camera. But if you go lower, there's some kind of a distortion. Linear perspective or whatever you call that, distortion. But it's good to experiment. It might show arrogancy. It shows a different character and emotion only with the camera height. Next. Next. And when you take a focal length lesser than 50 mm and go close to the subject, many people do, it's quite experimentative. So you will get distortion. But it could be a kind of a narrative that you want to play. Why not? Next. It could be from top, it could be from down. Experiment with camera. Next. Next. Okay, regarding the light, I have not used any chrome and brawling chrome in my entire photographic journey. I don't believe in studio lights. I only believe in God's light. So, using God's light, you have a reflector. And my reflector was an aluminum foil stuck on cardboard after being crumpled. Take aluminum foil, crumple it, and then flatten it and stick it onto a cardboard. That's the best diffused reflector you can have in this world. It's the cheapest but the best. You don't just put the aluminum foil on the cardboard, it will hit the subject. So just crumple it and put soft diffuse light. You can make one or two. I used to have 3 feet by 1 feet. And I always need some help, someone to hold it in a particular angle. And you need to do your photography fast because the person is holding. If you take too much time, slowly his angle also is keeping on changing. And you make the best picture in the last and you will see the worst lighting. Be careful about it. Okay. So, and also the light. Don't think that you need good amount of light. You be modest. इतने लाखों नहीं चाहिए, थोड़े से कब चलेगा. So diffused light, overcast days is the best because it will not throw very strong deep shadows. You need to have some details in the shadows also. But if you have very harsh light, it will be like a contrast, like your lithography. Earlier days we used to use lit film, and I remember Mr. Arya Acharya, he had come and demonstrated lithography in Bangalore, YPS long time back. So it will become that. So you have to be very careful. Next. Window light is the best light. If you want to shoot good portrait to control the background, if you shoot in daylight outdoors, the same amount of light on the subject is also falling on the background. and it will be very difficult for you. And if it is an overcast day, your picture might be a bit flat. So better to shoot inside the house, but through light through the window, and that one light is enough. What I would do is, in the next picture I will show you, the same light with this aluminum foil reflector bounced, and you got a good fill-in light. Next. All these pictures only with the window light. Next. So here in this picture I have proven that I am a little crazy photographer. Here is the aluminum foil crumpled and put on the what you call cardboard, and then there is a 250 watts tungsten bulb held by this guy, and from the sky you can understand that why is he using this light and that reflector, this daylight. Because I want some catch lights. I want some light to create a little modeling. Because any picture, to be its worth, should have light, and it should also have shadow. It's very, very important. Yeah? Next. Okay, next. So I'll just explain, if I am given the time, the different setup of lightings and what you need to understand that's happening in your picture. The position of the light, the intensity of the light, and the spread of the light is very, very important for your portraiture to be effective. Next. Okay, no, next. I will not go into all these details. This painter from Netherlands, Dutch painter, Rembrandt. Of course, we all know the story. He was doing all his paintings, and the light was coming from the attic. That's the window on the top. पुराने घरों में ना ऊपर से हमारे ज़माने में बोलते थे ventilator. I said some light coming from the top attic window, falling on the subject. That became his standard lighting for all his paintings. So what is this particular Rembrandt lighting, which is probably 80% of lighting in the world for all movies as well as even photography. Next. It's a 45-degree angle light. Next. So Rembrandt light is there's a main light here and a fill-in light here, and it creates an inverted highlight triangle shaped inverted highlight. Next. Okay, that's the way it is called Rembrandt. And depending on the intensity of the main light, you will see how it works. So therefore, it's always a ratio of the main light and the fill-in light. You need a fill-in light also to throw in details in the shadows. Otherwise, it will be too contrasting. Next. So Rembrandt light is the highlight on the other side of the face as an inverted triangle. Next. Loop lighting. This is also good, a little gentle, and particularly for younger models, young boys and girls, you can have loop lighting, which will not be so harsh, but you still need a shadow on this side. And you see that just a little bit of shadow on the nose creates a three-dimensionality that shows that the nose is in front of the mouth. It's not chapak or something. But you will get a little three-dimensionality, and the loop light is a very gentle light. Next. Okay. Next. Split lighting. Very clear. This is half side of the face lit, another in shadow. So again, based on the intensity, you will get the play of light. Next. So I have used this split lighting on certain of my subjects. You will see the same lady whom I photographed because I was convinced about this face. I was not married also, so it was a challenge. And her doctor husband agreed for his wife to be posed, and she wanted very, very glamorous kind of picture, and I was not doing a glamorous picture. The earlier picture that I showed was my pre-visualization. Anyways, next. Okay, next. Side rim profile. This is a bit more experimentative, and it is very suitable for elderly people when you want to show a headshot of a character, particularly for great thinkers, scientists, philosophers. This side lighting is always used. Next. Again, the contrast between the highlight, the main light, and that's called the key light, and the fill-in light. Next. I hardly use it. I use it on MS Satyu. All of you know him, right? The filmmaker MS Satyu. Next. Analog days. This is Mansi with another pose. This is the frontal light, and sometimes it throws a kind of a shadow below the nose like a butterfly wing, butterfly shape. So this is also used for young people. It's fair enough. It's not a very experimentative light, and most of the time people use the frontal lighting because they're scared to have too much of contrast from the main to the film. It's always advisable to keep some kind of a ratio, and generally it is 2:1 ratio, 2 of the main light and 1 of. So meaning you cut the light into half. But if you are taking elderly subjects, it's good to take 1/3 or 1/4, and sometimes if you are really experimentative, 1/8 also, the ratio of the main to the film light. Next. So a gentle shadow over here. Next. Where you're not so much bothered, but you're getting a kind of a butterfly kind of a shadow below the nose. Where you're trying to emphasize more on character than trying to create it. Next. Next. Particularly children, it's good to use the frontal lighting. Next. So there are different types of portraiture. I'm not doing one particular kind of portraiture, which is called the constructed studio kind of portraiture. All the pictures that I've shown which look like studio were not done in studio. It was created to be in a studio, but it was not done in a studio because I have the control on printing. I'm a fanatic of chemical darkroom work, and I have got the chemistry background, so I used to mix my own developer. Now someone was talking about D163. I used to use my own concentration of metol, hydroquinone, sodium bicarbonate, and most of the time I used to steal it from the chemistry lab. It's small, okay, so don't punish me. Okay, a small amount, and I used to mix my chemicals, and I called my formula the new Winchester formula. There's a Winchester formula. If you have seen a book, like a thick Bible called Enlarging by Jacobson, fantastic book with all the formulas and good for people who are into the analog darkroom work. And I'm very happy to say that in Bangalore I saw that there is a trend for analog work to be also done. It's picking up. I don't know, I mean that's really surprising in the digital world. Many people are fascinated to do the chemical darkroom work. So when I told Mr. H.N. Alama Prabhu, he said, see, I'm selling this Orvo NP55 or so many other roles he showed me. So what's happening? So yeah, people are fascinated with the process, and that's true. That's the most honest statement you will get. People are fascinated with the process rather than just the result. Right? So I said, oh my goodness, I have to go back to analog printing now. So I used to just modify the Winchester formula, and I called it the new Winchester formula in order to get a little more contrast. Because my paper was not bromide, it was chlorobromide paper. Thanks to again Vimal Parmar for supplying me sterling chlorobromide paper from Calcutta. So cultural portraits, so there are different types of portraiture. The cultural portraits, it has its own narrative, its own purpose, and it also shows to the world how different people in different environments, different traditional clothes, different culture, food habits, they all present you. And nowadays it's a trend to have a tour to some of the exotic cultural places, like some people go to Mizoram or somewhere, to Ladakh for that. So it's nice. And for example, my favorite place, Rajasthan, Jodhpur. So the cultural portraits are also very nice to take. It also serves an important thing for humanity to know that how people are living in this world. Next. Next. Environmental portraiture. When we talk about environmental portraiture, there should be a real reason and a relevant narrative as such. And it shows not just the subject, but it should show the environment also. Next feature. So what kind of activity the person is involved, what kind of environment he has, and it tells a lot about the personality of the person, what profession he is doing, and his space. Next. And this has to be taken on location there, right? Next. The cobbler in his work. Or tea person. Next. People at the port. People sitting in a tempo. These ladies are sitting in a tempo. I said, no, I'll stop the tempo driver from moving there. I have to take my picture and he will go. Otherwise I'll puncture his vehicle. So when तुम क्या करोगे सिर्फ बात करोगे he said it was quite a hefty guy but I was happy that I made a picture. Next contemporary portraiture. You're trying hatke. Sometimes they experiment with it. Next. When you have two subjects, two faces in a picture, it becomes very, very difficult to control. And sometimes I have felt that if one face dominates, it's more better than both of them competing at each other. They kind of create a division where you can take a scissor and cut the picture into two halves. That should not happen. So it's sometimes very difficult to control when there are multiple faces. So one should dominate, and one is, for example, looking at this side, some kind of formula you need to have it. There are multiple faces. Next. 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 With children, it's a totally different ball game. You have to get subjected to being teased. You have to come and, kitna bhi umar ho aapka, you should come to a child's age when you are going to photograph children. Sab mazak karo, ye karo, let them tease you, let them say names to you. Get into their world, just like when you were a child, you were teasing everyone, right, and getting teased. So you need to come to their age, and then you can extract some good emotions from them, and they'll cooperate with you. Next. The medium. This is also a very big question that haunts photographers. How are you going to present your picture? In black and white or in color? It's always going to be a dilemma for you. You need to make a conclusion and not like someone saying, oh no, Asif, change your picture from color to black and white. Nobody should dictate terms on you, of course. Some kind of guidance or advice is fine. But you should make up your mind. I am going to show my picture in black and white, or I am going to show my picture in color. This is your choice. And you need to present it. Yeah? Now we come to composition. When you come to composition, nobody wants to understand it. All want to take the picture, choose a good subject, and everything. Composition is the grammar of photography. You have to study it. It takes some time to absorb it. It doesn't come overnight. You have to see all the pictures. Whenever you get a magazine, whenever you get a newspaper, you have to start analyzing what would be the composition of the picture. Has the photographer done justice to the composition? What you would have done? ऊपर से कुछ कितना कट करोगे, कितना राइट से कट करोगे, लेफ्ट से कट करोगे. Maybe you would have taken much more than required, but fine. Who's going to see it? Who's going to see your original capture? Right? They're going to see a final statement. So it's your call. And in the digital, world, it is a child's play to refine your composition from what you have actually taken on location. I always say photography should be done on location, not at your home in the computer sitting for hours and improving and upgrading your picture. सब कुछ location में निकालना है, तभी मजा मिलता है. That is the main essence of photography. Do your photography in location. Now just because you have that studio or shop that has come into your home and become Photoshop, you are going to take advantage? No. है ना, वो जो दुकान था, वो दुकान घर में आ गया है. पुराने ज़माने में एनालॉग में you take a picture and run to the studio to process and print, and whatever that guy does, you are accepting it. In the
लोग ये बात समझते नहीं ना, कितना पशु आपके पिक्चर में उनको पता नहीं चलता.
Really, very true. And one day I brought the prints from the studio lab. Ad Lab is quite a famous lab in Bangalore. I brought the pictures and showed to my mother. See how good pictures I have taken. My mother was very interested in photography, and the Askari Awards is in her name. Started in 1997 and continued till this day to motivate youngsters. Because she asked me one simple question: photography आपको इतना कुछ दिया है, आप क्या दिए photography को? I was speechless. So that's the reason in 1997 Askari Awards was. And she felt so happy to go and give two youngsters below the age of 35 their awards. So I was never present in the event, I was in Dubai, but she would go and present. She got a lot of happiness. But that day when I brought the picture of an event, I don't think it was a wedding or some kind of an event, when I showed the picture, she got very angry on me. To your point, she got very, ये कलर का साड़ी मुझे पसंद नहीं है. मुझे क्या मालूम, जो साड़ी पहने वही फोटो में आया है. I got shocked at that day. What did I do? Whatever sari you wore, it is there. I don't like this color. I never have a sari of this color. And it started making me think. Why? Because I gave 50% of the control to the guy in the studio. जो भी आया automatic में करा, ठीक है. Okay, only the shade must have changed. She got so wild on it. I don't like this color. So I ran back to the studio and told, what man, I thought I'll get some nice brownie points. My mother got angry on me. Don't worry, I will reprint. So he reprinted. He said to me, I really don't know what sari your mother wore. I'll give you 3-4 versions, you take there and show whichever and khatam karo baat. So this proves to you that if you are going to be an artist, a photo artist, I don't call you all photographers, I call you photo artist, because you're not photographer. You're not just documenting, you're an artist. If you're going to be an artist, you should be responsible from the subject selection till the presentation. If you're giving the controls to someone else, you lost the game. And that is why I went into black and white photography, analog, and started printing in black and white. All my black and white pictures I have printed. Basically because for Sabah, this particular picture, the great, and I would say, I don't know what sir will say, was arguably the best color printer, is the best color printer. Now of course he doesn't print, he's quite elderly now, in India, if not in the world. The youngest MPR in the world, Shri D. Srinivasa, he printed Sabah. And जब मुझे award मिल रहा था, मैं सोचा अच्छा ये award मेरा नहीं है. ठीक है, I did the picture, subject selection, everything. Printed by whom? To get these colors. Who did it? The guy who printed. So that day I made an oath. No more color. Black and white. I can't afford to print color at home. But black and white I can do. So I started black and white. I am chemistry background guy. I can get free chemicals from the lab. I'll do it. I'll economize. I printed for some of the best photographers, commercial photographers in Bangalore for money, so that I don't have to ask anyone money for my photography. I supplemented it. So that's one reason you need to be the owner of your picture. Now, all of you who are doing photography now are very fortunate in the digital world. Digital world, it both matlab, a dramatic change in photography. It is now everyone's fault. Everyone is a photographer. The man on the street is a photographer. He has a camera on the mobile phone. So you have the control. So do it responsibly. That is what I'm saying. Don't be like taking pictures. Think and take. पुराने ज़माने में जब एक पिक्चर निकालता, मिस हो गया, पैसा का वसूल नहीं हो गया, loss. 35 rolls. In fact, we are trying to get 37 out of 35 exposures by what you call mounting it into the camera body in such a way. इतने कंजूस थे हम. 35 का roll में 37, 38 pictures निकाल देते. Sometimes it didn't work, but what I'm saying is एक picture सोच के निकालते थे. आज सोच नहीं है ना. ठीक है, nothing. Then delete. Select all, delete. What's the big deal? So it's very, very important. So when I talk about composition, many people, you can see all this done by photographer members from my club. I gave them this exercise. I gave them the particular pieces they had to do this composition. Next, and it was evaluated. Now the great picture of Newman, Picasso. This is Picasso by Newman. Not Paul Newman. I think Sir will tell you. This Paul, I forgot his first name. Newman took the picture of Picasso. It was one of the most iconic pictures of Picasso, which showed the thinking artist. This particular picture. And what did I find later? When both of them are not there. This was the actual shot. When he was printing it, he cropped it to this. So we had the opportunity to crop it if you were the one printing it. है ना? So बहुत मुश्किल होता था जो photographers were not printing. But you in the digital world, you can easily crop, there's no issues. A person takes a 50 megapixel camera and by cropping he loses 50% of it. आधा पैसा चला गया वहाँ पर. But my point, when you crop off 50% of the pixels, you can't boast you have a 50 megapixel camera. You actually have a 25 megapixel camera. जो 10,000 कितना पता नहीं कितना लाख दिए हैं उसका आधा दिए हैं. So to justify it, you need to do good composition. Even Newman had to crop. I think this is 30% of the whole exposure. Next. So here I'm talking about the rule of thirds, but for me always the portrait is, this is in my own way, I call it the ball and triangle effect. This is just to teach my mentees. If you have the person facing you right with both the shoulders equidistant from the camera, then it becomes a ball and a rectangle. I don't like this, it's very static. But you have one shoulder closer to the camera, there will be a lot of dimensionality, there's like dynamism and energy in the picture. You can make the person look, with body language away from the camera and he can look towards the camera. So what will happen is one shoulder closer, it will appear like a triangle. So this is what I call the ball and triangle effect. Next. Just get an angle that it looks more dynamism rather than straight, both the shoulders pointing towards the camera. Next. In composition, when you have a head and shoulder shot, don't have too much of base, body also, the triangle. And too less also is not good. But you need to have something, and this you need to estimate and visualize when you're taking the picture. How heavy it is, depending. If, for example, this is light in tone, you have to have less. But if it is dark in tone, then you can still crop it more better. So, most important is about how much volume the triangle is going to take in order to support the ball, otherwise the ball will fall down. And the next thing, you will also see that if you have a reasonable size, get the eyes above the midline of the what do you call it, the picture. It should not be lower than that. Next, I think I showed in the next slide. Yeah, this is very, very important. If you get lower, and it can become lower when the person is wearing, for example, a topi or a big hat or some kind of a headdress. It can come down lower, and that is a little difficult because it looks like it's sinking. So ensure that it is above the midline. Next. Again, composition, you have different options. What should be your statement? Now here is the picture taken, square. I thought it's fine. यहाँ वो बकरी का पूरा मतलब हिस्सा आ गया है. Do I have to show the entire legs? Is it also adding to the narrative, or do I crop it like this? Next one. So you have different versions, right? So this is a picture taken. You can always have this advantage of cropping. You don't need to show the whole legs. I cropped it this way. Next. And I thought this is more effective than the original shot. So you need to experiment and reason out what will be your composition. थोड़ा ध्यान देना है, इसमें सोच देना है. Next. So here you see that eye also. So you also have to get some catch lights, right? Sometimes the catch light is squares. You see film magazines, most of the catch light is square. So you can understand the light source. It's square or round. You can understand how many are there, where they are positioned. ये सब दूर को देखना है. मैं तो वहाँ बोलती इतना लड़की को घूर रहा है क्या क्या हिस्सा है? But we are studying the lighting. No, I said नहीं मैं light देख रहा हूँ कहाँ light है? वो light तो नहीं है ना यहीं पर लड़की का face है. When इसके आँख में light का position है. So you know you need to analyze and study and never have the what we call the catch light into the center, little at the 11 o'clock position or the 1 o'clock position that shows that the light is above the face. Never have the lights below unless you want a ghost kind of effect. Never have it straight, just have it up because the Suraj is never lower than us, it's always higher. So the catch light should be on the 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock position. Next. 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 And it's very important. The eye is the soul of that portrait. The eyes will tell so much that words cannot say. अभी जब मैं देख रहा हूँ किसी को, you don't have to say a statement. From your eyes, I can make out. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can make out some interpretations. So the eyes become the focal point of your picture. When you focus the face, focus the eyes. It's very important. You can't have a soft eye. You can't have an unfocused eye. You need to have the eyes sharp and bright, and it should tell your narrative, it should help you. So what I would advise is select the eye. It's so easy, and you people do masking, and so many IT people has more formulas, solutions than me. But just a simple selection of the eye is what you need to do, and sharpen it a bit, brighten it a bit, so that it will reflect your approach. Next. Backgrounds. Sometimes shoot stock background. Many professional photographers, artistic photographers, on their website they sell backgrounds. Never buy their backgrounds. Never buy skies. This is against ownership. Never use someone's sky for your picture. It is not allowed. Even PSA will not allow it. But what you can do it, take stock pictures of backgrounds and then use it for your subjects. If you don't like the natural background, this is another way you can lift your subjects. Next. This again, various techniques will be there to change the background. Next. Here also I'm showing you, I've taken the camel back here as this background because I didn't like this jarring, contrasty background in the back. And none of the pictures had good background. So I thought, fine, I have a solution. So these are two stalks of the camel part, the hind leg here, and I felt, okay, I will take a little part of where the hair is on the camels. Yeah, next. In photography style, there is also something called desaturation. Many of you know saturation. You want to saturate the colors, make it more red, red to be more red, blue to be more blue. But you can also do a new technique where there is desaturation. In desaturation, you are trying to subdue the color so that the face and the personality stands out. And this is some kind of a trend that has started. So you can also desaturate the colors. Next. Next. This is just to brighten up the face where it matters. Next. Now lessons from also rants. I planned to put some pictures, but I didn't put. I'll show you in the next slide. I think I had it. Now, not all the pictures that you take are going to be successful to you. When you evaluate it later. So when you evaluate it later and you find that it is not successful, keep those pictures because that picture will teach you a lesson what not to do. So I am showing you pictures here which did not work for me. and never was used. So this also rans, I call them also rans. There was a lot of effort in making the pictures, but what to do, it didn't work for me. So I don't present it. But remember these pictures because they taught you a lesson, what not to do. Next. The spice is to innovate. Try to innovate and experiment. That is very maza milta hai na? Next. Now here is a person I am always very fascinated, William Mortensen, and this is the book that I have it, and it was gifted to me by Betty Dagier, and it's a 1928 Turkey publication for pictures, 1928. So this here is a different approach, where the artist, he has a concept, and he keeps the camera on a tripod and everything. He enacts the concept. He's the subject also. The photographer is also the subject. So he has a concept. He dresses up like that or emotes like that and then takes a picture. Can you believe it? To that extent, because he has a pre-visualized concept. Next one. In that whole book, you will see that William Mortensen has enacted a particular concept and he is the subject of the pictures. Next. So, okay, let me now move further fast. Next. Okay, next. Now my philosophy of portrait is that when I see a subject, if I don't react towards him in a positive manner, it doesn't create an emotion or something in me, I don't take a picture. I have been forced to take portraits many times, but for their pleasure I did it. But when I present my pictures, I have to be convinced that I really wanted to take the picture. I'm proud of that picture. At least I got happiness of that picture. It's very next. A very important point, the author has to connect with the subject. If you don't connect with the subject, you are not in sync with the subject, it's difficult to take a picture. Next. Now here is a very important thing that I have to say, that portraiture and wildlife photography, or let me generalize it, nature photography of living, what you call organisms or species in the world, their life. And this kind of photography actually brings the humanness in you. One is you are interacting with your own species, and the other maybe you are interacting with a butterfly or an elephant. It will reflect your humanness, your humanity, how human you are. This is one very important aspect to first believe in. Photography is not done for any brownie points or for some other's pleasure or for some judge or to get an award. No. Photography should make you a good human being. This is very important. Next. Okay, these are the subjects I've taken. Next. Whenever you take a picture to any subject, show the picture. Sometimes what I see in street photography, people take tuck and keep walking. This is not humanity. Go and try to talk to him, ask him, did you have breakfast, this, that. Get in sync. Make him feel that you are a human being. Not like a soldier who came, shot something with a gun. What is this? So you have to have that empathy with you. Yeah? And sometimes you will have to take a picture, and I see Vimal Parmar does it very often to all the strangers. He takes pictures and he goes back to them and gives them prints. And nowadays I saw one photographer, I'm not getting his name, he takes the Polaroid, right, instant camera. He also takes his camera and takes pictures, and on the spot he takes it with that, and he gets a printout immediately on a Canon Polaroid, I think, and he gives it to the subject. It makes them happy. Just a smile. And nobody needs your money or your thing. What they need is empathy, kindness. It's very important. Next. I like Eve Arnold, great photographer. If a photographer cares about the people before the lens and is compassionate, much is given. One thing very important to understand, much is given. It is the photographer, not the camera, that is the instrument. Beautiful words.
Picasso's that was Arnold.
I have to check that. Next. So I have given a lot of presentation, workshops and blah blah. And next. So okay, presentations and all like this one. Next. Okay, next. Okay, also had an exhibition, a one-man show in Romania. Next. But I also love printing my book. In the analog era, I loved it. I used to be on Saturday nights locked up in the makeshift dark room, which was actually the bathroom. None in the home could use the bathroom at night. Of course, we had a secondary bathroom. But I had occupied the bathroom the whole of Saturday, and I'm printing the pictures. But now I can do at more ease without disturbing people at home. With the one I use is the Canon Pro Graph 1000, and I can only print A3 size. I print my FRPS portfolio myself. Next. And nowadays we also can make books, but of course I didn't print this book itself, it was done for the whole group. Next. Now I also want to say that I am the chair of the Photographic Society of America, the first non-American chair of the Photographic Society of America. Thank you very much. And I was invited to the Photographic Society of America conference in Portland. It was a pleasure for me there. I also inducted some of our Indian friends like Tinmalay, you see Viren Bhatia, you see Boski's name here. Next, Boski is also there. Next. So we have something called, I'm also the director of the portrait competition as well as the landscape competition of the Photographic Society of America. There are 3 rounds for the members. If you are a member of the Photographic Society of America, you can contact me and let me know your interest, and I will support you. If you are interested in portraiture or landscape, you can contact me. Most welcome. Don't think it's a disturbance. It's a pleasure for me. Contact me and I'll tell you how to become a member, how to join, and how to benefit on the various membership benefits of the PSA. And this is one of the membership benefits I have started in PSA. It was not there before. So when I became the director in the year 2020, I started something called image analysis webinars. COVID did a lot of dramatic disadvantages for us, I should say, but it also helped us to become online. Some people have taken it to too much of extreme, but webinars became the cult during the COVID time and still continues, right? So I started this image analysis webinars, which have got very good feedback, positive feedback from many. And here is Santos Moreno. Even he can't speak English. His wife is translating English. And he told me, I don't speak English, don't get me in. I said, for me, your language, whether you talk Spanish, you talk Arabic, English, Marathi, Kannada is not the language. My language is photography. It's only with photography that I connect with people. So that is my common language. I respect all the languages, but my language is photography. It connects people. A person in Argentina will see my picture and I can communicate with him. He doesn't have to learn English. He doesn't have to learn Hindi to understand me. He understands with my photographic visual statement. Yeah. So it's very important. Image analysis helps you to understand various. So I invite many of the very prominent portraitists in the world. They've been very kind enough to be there. About 50 international portraitists have been featured in this image analysis in the last 4 to 5 years. And they provide an analysis of the images entered in the competition, not award winners. Any image they will choose, and they provide various things and analysis in order to help awareness and education in portraiture. So very beneficial part of it. Next. This is the shutterbugs that I have also implemented in Dubai. I have mentored more than 100 people, expatriates who are there, based in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, who were enthusiastic about photography. Some of them never had a camera in their lives. So from scratch, I never take a person who knows photography. Many came and told me, I know photography, see my Instagram, see my Facebook. And I said, no, I will not take it. He got furious. अरे क्या problem है? मुझे photography आता है, मैं आपके group में join करता हूँ. तो मैं बोला, मुझे क्या फायदा है? मुझे सिखाना है. तुम already सीख गए, you go somewhere else. So I have the pleasure and satisfaction of mentoring people from scratch, so that I can mold them in a particular way in philosophy of photography. So more than 100 of them came to this forum since 2009 and learned photography. Some did not even have cameras. Some were housewives just doing their homework. But now they have the pleasure and some important happiness in their life. Next. So the Astri Awards that I have had since 1997, since 1997 implemented on my mom's name, and many people have been involved in this. Like T.N. Paramal, like C. Raj Gopal, you can see Mr. Hedbar there, Mrs. C. Raj Gopal there, my dad, my mom, and about, I don't know how many are there. From 1997, 2 of them get an award. Till today it is implemented, and now I have Vikas Shastri as the convener of the competition. Bichara bahut kuch kaam karta hai for the Astri Awards. Next. And today I have the pleasure that in this year I judged your competition and I gave a presentation to all of you. So I thank you very much for that. And the pictures that have been featured in this presentation, which are not mine, the one in the history and the evolution that I've talked about, I took permission. So don't think that I have done some plagiarism. So I have taken the permission from Stephen Burns, he's the Director of Operations of the International Photography Hall of Fame. So when I showed Eve Arnold's picture or Paul Newman's picture or the other pictures of Steve McCurry and all this, permission has been taken. So from Stephen, from the Romano Gallery, and also from the International Photography Hall of Fame. Because it is in public space, I had to get the permission. Next. Thank you and good night to you all.
Wonderful image.
I hope I respected the time.
आप सबका धन्यवाद। आप इतनी भारी संख्या में आज उपस्थित रहे, हमें बहुत खुशी है। फोटोग्राफी सोसाइटी ऑफ इंडिया की ओर से मैं इरफान आसिफ जी का हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूँ। आपने हमारे बीच इतना प्रेरणादायक और शानदार स्लाइड शो प्रस्तुत किया है। आपकी हर तस्वीर एक कहानी की तरह थी, भावनाओं, कला और गहराई से भरी हुई थी। आपकी फोटोग्राफी ने हमें सभी को वास्तव में प्रभावित किया है। मैं सभी सदस्यों, अतिथियों और फोटोग्राफी के प्रेमियों की धन्यवाद करता हूँ, जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम को सफल और यादगार बनाने की कोशिश की। एक बार फिर इरफान जी का इस अद्भुत और ज्ञानवर्धक शाम के लिए आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद करता हूँ और ये प्रतीक्षा करता हूँ कि इसके आगे भी हम इनका कुछ वर्कशॉप करेंगे और कुछ स्लाइड शो कर सकेंगे।
पीएसआई का इंटरनेशनल आउटिंग हम दुबई में रख सकते हैं। ये फर्स्ट इंटरनेशनल आउटिंग ऑफ पीएसआई।
श्रीधर जी,
बैटरी खत्म।
Arfan Asif ji ने actually within, he has articulated his entire 50 years of experience in an hour for us. So it's a fantastic job he has done for all of us. I suppose people must be taking a lot of things from him. And as he rightly said, he is also representing Photographic Society of America. Our intention this year at Photographic Society of India is to, there are some webinars, sir, that you people at PSI are conducting, and which it will be my personal effort to bring these webinars to Photographic Society of India and lively broadcast them to all the members so that they get benefited from Photographic Society of America, as we are actually members of Photographic Society of America for ages, but we are not able to bring this plethora of programs which were being offered from Photographic Society of America. It will be my effort. Maybe I'm trying it out. If it reaches you people, I will be very happy.
See, I will support this initiative from him. He is a very kind person. He wants to help his members and is a good leader for the future for you people. What I will do is that I will get all your email IDs from him, and I just give him the link. I've already provided him the link. He has the freedom to provide this link to each and every PSI member. Though it is only a PSA membership benefit program, even if you are not a PSA member, you can attend. PSI members can attend, and he will distribute the link and publish it in your newsletter or wherever, and all of you can benefit.
We'll call Rohinton sir because our
I should say that it is such a blessing. इतना बड़ा आशीर्वाद मिला है मुझे आज कि ये तोहफा श्री रोहिंटन मेहता के हाथ से मिला है. Someone who I admire, and someone who is a living legend, who has contributed to the propagation of photography all over our country through various articles, and I have read many of his articles, and he does it with a lot of passion and conviction, and I am so blessed to receive this from you, sir. Thank you very much.
I have a few words to say. Arfan sir, I did not like your program. I loved it.
के लिए सपने में आ गया था।
And he always
I am
gives those
sure, for me at least, this has been one of the most beneficial programs ever seen in PSI. Everything that you have mentioned is absolutely on the dot and just amazing. I was wonderful. Thank you.
मैं आपके घर में
And we would really like to thank Vaibhav to have initiated this particular process of getting Mr. Arfan Asif to PSI today.
आज उनकी वजह
Thank
से
you so much.
हमें ये भाग्य मिला है। मेरे जब ठीक है, हम आपका बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं।
Vaibhav ji, very kind person, and it's all his efforts to get me here. Thank you.
उनकी वजह से आज ये प्रोग्राम हो सका है PSI के लिए।
But he's very smart also, no? He's very smart person.
That
मैं
everybody
आ रहा
knows.
था आविष्कार के अवार्ड लेने के लिए, वो मुझे 2 प्रेजेंटेशन में ये करती है। So he's a smart person, but very kind person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
We'll conclude.
हमारे